Hello, here we are, week 19 of the Marea and Friends concert series, and we're here tonight with clarinetist Angelo Quail.
Yeah, and we're super excited to be collaborating with him this evening and to enjoy his program. And tonight the theme of the program is choosing gratitude, and we talk a lot about how this applies to our life as musicians and our life as people.
Yeah, so before we get started, if you want to take a couple of minutes and purchase your optional $5 virtual ticket, you can go to our website, www.mareaduo.com, and purchase the ticket or make a donation. It really means a lot to us and a lot to the artists involved. And we try to produce content that you will enjoy every week. Yeah.
All right, let's hear a little bit about this week's guest artist. Angelo Quail is a third-year clarinet fellow at the New World Symphony. Before moving to Miami Beach, he served as principal clarinet of the Eastern Sierra Symphony and was an active freelancer based in Los Angeles. He can be heard in the original soundtracks for the Netflix series Chef's Table, as well as the British Broadcasting Channel's documentary series Blue Planet. He has performed with many top orchestras throughout the United States, including the Cleveland Orchestra, Los Angeles Philharmonic, Baltimore Symphony, Milwaukee Symphony, and Pacific Symphony. Internationally, he has performed at the Beijing National Center for the Performing Arts, Shanghai Concert Hall, Edinburgh Festival Theatre, and National Concert Hall in Dublin, Ireland. A native of Ann Arbor, Angelo holds degrees from the University of Michigan, the University of Southern California, and the Colburn School. His primary teachers include Yehuda Gilad, Daniel Gilbert, Wolfgang Meyer, and Theodore Oyen. We are so excited to be joined here tonight with Angelo, and we can't wait to get this program started.
Here we are,
Week
week 19 of the Marea and Friends virtual concert series. And we're here today with the clarinetist Angelo Quail. I know Angelo. We've gone to a couple of music festivals together, and Angelo is a wonderful player and a wonderful person, and we're so excited to have him with us today.
Yeah, and I got to meet Angelo when he came to New Haven. We all got New Haven pizza together.
Yeah. But so the first question that we're going to ask today is just if you could give us a little background of who you are and where you are and what you're doing today with clarinet and just life in general.
So first of all, thanks so much for having me. This is a super awesome series that you all have been putting on. So super happy to be a part of it. I'm Angelo. I play the clarinet. I'm currently in Michigan. I've been spending the pandemic at home with my family. But when I'm not in Michigan, I am a clarinet fellow with the New World Symphony. And I've been doing that for, I guess this is my third year now. And when I'm not a New World Fellow, I do some other work with other orchestras across the country. And so that's basically my current professional situation. A little bit about my background. I grew up here in Michigan in a small town called Dexter. And it's right near Ann Arbor, Michigan, so super close to the university, and spent some time in Ann Arbor as well. So after I graduated high school, I went to the University of Michigan for my undergrad. I studied with Dan Gilbert, and I actually ended up double majoring. So in my freshman year, I sort of panicked a little bit about the career choice I was making, even though I loved music. I decided to add a German major onto my degree as well. And that was actually a super great decision because my junior year, I ended up having the opportunity to study in Germany at a conservatory in Karlsruhe, which is on the western side of Germany, just near the French border. And that was one of the best personal and musical experiences I think I've ever had. So super happy that I had the language skills to be there and kind of make my way and not get lost on the wrong train or something like that. um, yeah, and then after I graduated Michigan, I got a master's from the University of Southern California, and then an artist diploma from Colburn. And from Colburn, I joined New World, moved out to Miami. So
having incredible experiences at all of them. Were there any pivotal career moments, especially from going from being a double major to focusing on music and going to some of the most prestigious institutions for classical music right now?
yeah, I mean, definitely a few, life decision moments in there. So my senior year of undergrad, I actually was pretty uncertain about what direction I was going to take my career. I sort of, I loved music, but I also loved German language, and I loved the time that I spent in Germany so much that I sort of just wanted to go back there. Part of me wanted to just pack up and move to Germany and kind of see where that took me. So I actually applied for both music grad schools my senior year of undergrad, as well as a Fulbright grant to do something completely unrelated to music and just move to Germany. And the Fulbright grant is about a year normally. Sometimes it's extended beyond that. But I thought that, in moving to Germany, Fulbright would be sort of my step into that. And then I might live there for, I don't know, 5 or 10 years even. So that was a pretty big decision that I ended up making. And really what sealed the deal for me was just in the process of preparing for grad school auditions, which of course was a super stressful time. But it also just reminded me how much I loved practicing and loved performing and loved getting things ready to perform at the highest possible level. So by the end of the senior year, when decision time came, it was super easy for me. I just went to music grad school, and that was the path that I took. And I guess the other big pivotal moment for me was just leaving school, leaving Colburn, joining New World Symphony, starting to sub with some professional orchestras, because it really was the moment when I realized, and I think a lot of musicians have this experience where you no longer have a teacher. And there's this moment where you realize I am completely responsible for my own playing. And there's no one else who's going to tell me if what I'm doing is good or bad on a weekly basis. I mean, sure, you come across conductors and other people like that sometimes give you feedback, but most of the time it's completely on you to do whatever you need to do to maintain and grow as an artist. And that it was definitely a scary transition, but it ended up being really wonderful for my playing. And just sort of taking that ownership, I think, made me grow a lot.
The first piece tonight on the program are 2 of J.S. Bach's symphonias, and this is a part of a larger scheme of Bach's 30 inventions and symphonias. And tonight we will be playing Sinfonia number 2 in C minor and Sinfonia number 8 in F major. 2 very different keys and sound worlds, but you can really hear the 3 voices of the woodwinds that are really extracted from the piano score for what they were originally written.
Yeah, and tonight we'll be playing an arrangement from bassoonist Garrett Brown, and he's currently a student at Stony Brook, and Eleni knows him. So we're really excited to be playing this arrangement, and thank you so much to Garrett for letting us play your arrangement. It's a lot of fun to put together, and we've had a lot of fun doing this with Angelo. So we hope you enjoy some Bach trios.
So, what is the best piece of advice you've received from a mentor, either about clarinet playing or something that you can apply to your everyday life?
Whew. Yeah, I've gotten a lot of good advice. I have to say, I've been had a lot of really wonderful teachers. I think the thing that sticks out most to me is this phrase that my teacher at USC in Colburn used that no one honestly really knows what it means, but he always said life is not a bagel. And it was usually in the context of someone complaining or something not quite going your way. And again, never explained what it meant. And it's kind of like this ongoing debate between all of his students what it actually means. But my interpretation, my sort of poetic interpretation of life is not a bagel, is that it basically means that things aren't going to go your way. Life is difficult, and just take stock and be grateful for what you're doing. And for us, what we're doing is usually playing music, and even if there are things that aren't ideal, that's still a pretty great thing to be doing, and that's something that I try to apply to both music and other things in life. I think we can all agree that 2020 was not a bagel. Um, it's just having that perspective and being grateful for what you can be grateful for.
Also,
Yeah.
like something that really struck me about that was the shape of a bagel. As a musician, you can't spin in circles thinking about things. You need to be more direct with your point. That's something I've been thinking actually a lot about during quarantine is like, I feel like there's such a mental aspect to music and like people don't talk about it a lot, like where it's separate, even though music is like your whole body and soul goes into it. Like you need to like kind of separate the emotional part from it when you get to the higher level of playing music. It's just like, it's not a bagel, it's just like you deliver. And it's some, I don't know. That's just my interpretation.
No, I agree. I think, that's the more experience I've gotten, and obviously we're all very young in our careers, but I think, being direct and having a purpose for each phrase and things like that, having a target, I think, and sort of an idea of what you're going to present and just a really clear conception of how you want things to sound is absolutely helpful to me.
Yeah. I don't know, maybe your professor like means it to be very vague and like people to interpret it differently, probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what was your audition like for New World when you did audition 3 years ago? And then can you just talk a little bit about your experience and what it's been like kind of from the beginning to where you are now? And obviously now is very different from the beginning, I'm sure. So
Yeah, so to start with the audition, I honestly don't remember too many remarkable things about the audition. The New World audition always takes place sort of in summer festival audition season, and so I think a lot of people who audition for New World are also auditioning for those summer programs as well, and that was the case for me the year that I ended up getting offered a fellowship. And I remember, playing well, and I remember it being an audition and being nervous and all of those sort of normal things. And I think the one thing that sticks out though is during the audition, I was asked to go back and play something more expressively. And that just really stood out to me in that moment because I had taken several professional orchestra auditions and I had often been asked to go back and do things differently in those auditions, but I had never been asked to play more musically or more expressively. It was always, play more in time or play faster, play slower. One time I was asked to play the same excerpt 6 times in a row, each time with shorter articulation. So I'd been asked to do all these technical things, but I'd never been asked to do anything. I should say I had been asked to do things musically different as well, but I'd never just gotten the comment play more expressively. And for me, that was kind of inviting to, let's just show us what you want to say. Don't worry about the nuts and bolts of it so much.
Something that struck me about like playing more expressively is that I feel like a lot of the time with our instruments, people want to forget that we're playing the instrument that we're playing.
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, it's like them almost asking to see more of you.
Exactly.
And less of like the instrument, kind of like what you were saying.
Yeah.
Which is, I feel like that now that I'm thinking of it that way, when someone asks me that, I'm going to take it as a compliment.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of cool. Yeah.
It feels more like a conversation. I mean, audition is a pretty artificial experience sometimes, but if you have that give and take, then it definitely feels a little bit more organic.
And do you have any pieces of advice for anyone who is auditioning for New World? I mean, you've kind of spoken a little bit about being able to adapt quickly in a situation and having conviction in your playing, but do you have any other things?
Yeah, I mean, I wish I had like a magic recipe for like what they're looking for or something. I think the best advice I could give is just the advice I would give anyone taking an audition if they asked for my advice, for what it's worth. So, and I guess you are asking, so I'll tell you. Yeah, but yeah, sort of my audition philosophy is, it's probably not going to be perfect. I don't think any of us have ever walked into an audition and walked out saying that every single millisecond of that went exactly the way that I wanted it to, and my read was fantastic, and everything just came out exactly how I would have intended. So I kind of take that as a given, and the way I approach things is usually just I try to give them something to like, something to like in my playing. So I try and emphasize the positives that I can bring rather than trying to avoid the negatives. And it's a little vague, but that's sort of how I approach auditions. I know it's not going to be perfect, so let's just try to make the things that I can do well come across.
So also something that I was introduced to this past week was New World's Face Off concert.
The New World Symphony Fellows are getting ready for the 3rd edition of Face Off.
Be ready with your phone, tablet, or computer, because this time, the Battle of the Instruments is going online.
This year, we have viola, trumpet, bassoon, percussion, and your all-time favorite harp, and those cellos. We are counting on you.
We're prepping Berlioz, Brahms, Strauss, Ravel, Beethoven, Tchaikovsky, and much more. There's something for everyone.
6 instruments, 2 rounds. Your vote, 1 winner. Now you know, from New World Center to your home, this is Face Off.
I didn't know you had this theatrical, well, I don't know you that well, but I didn't know you had this theatrical side to you as being one of the judges of the Face Off reality, almost a reality TV show for the New World Symphony. And I was completely inspired by it and how it really just put on a new
a new shape to what classical music is and how it can be viewed, and the interaction between audience and performer. And it was just really freeing for me to see, some bassoons on stage playing Symphony Fantastique, and knowing that this virtual audience was like, yeah, let's go. It's like you normally don't get that hyped up for classical music. I mean, I do, but the world doesn't. And so I just was like totally inspired. So could you just talk a little bit about Face Off?
Yeah, so Face Off was originally thought of by a bass fellow at New World, and this was, I think, 3 or 4 years ago now. Her name's Andrea Beyer, and she basically wanted to create some sort of a concert where the instruments of the orchestra were presented as contestants in some way, and then the audience gets to vote to choose a winner. And the original idea was to do Britain Young Person's Guide to the Orchestra and have that be the piece that showcases different instruments, and then the audience votes. So then Andrea made the mistake of asking Corbin Castro, who's a horn fellow at New World, and myself to help her. And we took that idea, and the three of us took it and just kind of blew it up. So Face Off, the way it stands now, is it's basically classical music meets The Voice or American Idol or any of these reality competition game shows. And as Eleni mentioned, I got to play the part of a judge, which I did not realize would be streamed all over the internet. But the concert combines some pre-recorded videos with lighting and graphics that are made by the awesome graphics team at New World. We have both a still graphics team and a video team that are amazing. And we've got trash talk videos and all this other stuff that you would see in a reality TV show. So basically the goal of the concert was just to make classical music more accessible to a wider audience. We also engaged some celebrity DJ hosts for the various years. This was actually the third iteration of Face Off this year. Fly Guy. Yeah, Fly Guy was our host for the past 2 years, who did an awesome job. It was super cool to see it both in person last year and virtually this year. But yeah, that was basically the idea, was to bring in new audiences and make classical music fun and present music that we all love in a way that is a little bit more accessible maybe than some other formats that it's presented in. And the really awesome thing about that project was actually in the first year we sold out. The whole New World Center was full, and it was like everything that we hoped for. The graphics came together, the audience was super enthusiastic and cheering, and people got so into the voting actually that one of our audience members was having a hard time working his cell phone during the concert, so he shouted out and stopped the entire performance and was saying, like, I can't get my phone to work and I want to vote for like the trumpets or whoever it was. And that it was pretty cool actually to see an audience member getting that into Face Off that they shouted out during a concert.
We all know that the past several months have been very strange. I think literally I've heard that so many times.
Yeah.
And especially the past few weeks, with like the start of 2021. But everybody's lives have kind of shifted around. And you mentioned that you've been living at home with your family. So I guess if you could talk a little bit about what that has been like during the pandemic and how you've kind of found motivation in a different way and not around a bunch of musicians every day.
Yeah, it was definitely an unexpected. I mean, obviously this was all unexpected for everyone, but I still remember packing up at the end of March and thinking, okay, I'll probably be home for a month or two and then I'll be back to Miami. So I packed 10 days worth of clothes and like whatever possessions I thought I would want for the next month. And I drove home and fully anticipating to return to Miami, certainly by the fall, probably sooner. And here we are in 2021, and I'm still at home. So I think, it's been really great to be with family during this time. We just got a puppy, which has been awesome.
Delaney, you did too. How old is your puppy?
Puppy is, his birthday is August 29th. So that puts him, what month is it? It's like 4 or 5 months now.
Oh,
ours October 11th.
Okay. Yeah. Super cute, like super fun. Love dogs. So that, that's been great, but it's just been really nice to be living, first of all, like with other people in a house right now. If I was in Miami, I would mostly be keeping to myself in my apartment. So it's been nice to be with family. So yeah, one thing that I've definitely learned is that time off is okay. I think a lot of musicians, certainly this is true for me, have a fear of having any sort of break. And, I definitely would think things like, if I go for a whole month without playing a concert, what state is my playing going to be? And I'm going to lose that performance muscle and I'm not going to be able to play clarinet anymore. And, et cetera, continue to spiral in that direction. And, it was great to sort of have this time off and realize that no, it's okay. I do still love music, 10 months later, however long it's been. And it's kind of freeing in a way, to know that things can pause and the motivation and the love of it is still there.
Mm.
And I think the other thing that I learned about myself sort of on a personal level is just that when given 10 months of uninterrupted time off, I will find things to keep myself busy, and I like to stay engaged and work on projects and keep myself active in that way. And that has been cool to see too, that I think I've been able to strike like a healthy balance between keeping myself busy, but also taking time to process and relax and spend time with family and things like that.
Yeah, for sure.
And I mean, also like, especially during this day and age, I feel like ignorance is a choice. Like back before we had all this technology, like you wouldn't be able to have at the tip of your fingers with a smartphone, be able to like research all these things and like have all these creative projects and all these things going on. But like back then, like you didn't have that. And you had to, I mean, if we had a pandemic, you would just be locked away. And so like, I mean, we can learn all these things. And that's something I've been thinking about because I recently actually just took a little bit of time off of the bassoon. And I mean, we're so attached to our instruments, and it's like, what else? Like, I mean, like, do I just like want to remain in my thoughts about music, or do I want to, expand and grow and like, or like be ignorant to the other like side of society? I don't want that, it's like to be an enriched human being. Like,
we're talking sort of about finding balance in life, balancing music career, which can be a pretty consuming thing with other things. And I think one thing that's beneficial about being home for me is the last time I was home for this long was in high school. And in high school, my life was more balanced, I would say, than it was a year ago.
Yeah.
Being, sort of going all out for a music career is a full-time personal and professional endeavor, I would say. Prior to COVID, I think maybe we all felt a sense of momentum, and oh, okay, let's apply for this, let's take this audition, and it seemed like things were, there was the possibility of change at any moment, like we were heading in some sort of a direction. And that was definitely, for me personally, something that was difficult about this time was, oh, let's press pause. And it felt like sort of things had been building up, and then we had to take a step back. So that's part of it. And I think the way that I have dealt with that, I mean, it definitely took some time to sort of just acknowledge what was lost. Like for me personally, April and May of last year, right after the pandemic hit, I had some really great opportunities to play in various places that I was looking forward to. And some of them, would have, I think, been highlights for me, in my career so far. And so that was a pretty tough thing to take, the loss, when the one after another emails came in about this concert is canceled, this concert is canceled. So I think time was helpful, and I think the other part of that was just still just life is not a bagel. Taking being grateful for what. For what I can be grateful for, which is actually a lot.
When everything shut down, it's like a shock at first, but then you sort of like realize all of these other things in your life that you are grateful for. And it's like, I feel like this time has sort of it's made me like zoom out. Like before everything, I was so focused on like oboe, and it's so hard to see past like that thing, that when you have all this momentum going forward, and then like to have everything shut down, and it's like you like zoom out and see like the big picture, and it's like realize what I really truly think is important in life, which is like my family and like the people that I love,
Well, and also like just being like grateful for all the things that like used to be little inconveniences. I mean, like, I feel like we would always talk about it. It's like, it's so hard to like get out the door and get on time and like go to these places. And now it's just such a privilege to step outside of my house and go for a walk outdoors. Yeah. And I mean, through like yoga and meditation, I feel like having like a gratitude practice is something that's like really important to do, especially during this time, if not all the time.
Yeah. I think gratitude has been very, very important. And like with regard to, being a musician, one thing that still like stands out to me is at the very beginning of all this, the two other clarinets in New World, we had a call with Anthony McGill, who's a clarinetist in New York Philharmonic, and his take on everything was, now is a really good time to take a step back and think about why you do what you do, why we play music. And I think that's still, that was a really great perspective that he had. And this was back in like April, when we hadn't had much time to process, but that was his perspective. And that's something that I definitely have thought about a lot, as Amelia was talking about, like zooming out, and getting a bigger picture on things. And that question, I think, has been really important for me personally in that process.
Yeah. And I feel like you mentioned Anthony McGill, and he has like this very established career. And I feel like once you sort of get to that stage, I mean, it's not that you don't have momentum to go forward. You obviously like are always trying to improve and like be better, but I think it's like a different sort of thing. And I mean, I'm just assuming maybe that when you get to like this place of having this full-time career of like doing what you love, that sort of makes you zoom out and maybe see the big picture a little bit more too. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I hope it does. Yeah. And I think I will say, like, for Anthony and for a lot of other, pro players that I've met, I think it's definitely the case that they're doing other wonderful things in the world as well, either through their music or in addition to their music. And I think, that's fantastic. And that's certainly the way that that I would like to be when I'm more established in my career.
So let's talk a little bit about coffee.
Finally. All right, let's do it. Let's get to the good stuff.
The hardest question on the interview.
It honestly is. I wrote the most bullet points out for this one. So
Okay, wait, I want to do the introduction to this question.
Yeah, you do it.
Okay, so when me and Angelo went to Aspen a couple summers ago, he introduced me to the AeroPress, actually. And it really, what did you say?
I said you're welcome.
But it truly changed my life because I love coffee a lot. And I did not know that coffee could taste like what it could with the AeroPress. And I mean, since then, I have now transitioned from the AeroPress to pour over kind of
the upside down method.
Well, it's this new thing called the Kalita Wave. Yeah, anyway. But I'm here to ask Angelo because Angelo is very much a coffee connoisseur and knows where to find the best coffee and how to make the best coffee. So if you don't mind sharing with our audiences tonight what you believe to be the best coffee and what you believe to be the best method of making coffee.
Ooh, okay, yeah. So this one is definitely like, this is a tough question, but actually recently I've maybe thanks to like people like Amelia, my reputation as a coffee person has grown, and I've had a lot of people texting me asking for consulting services on what type of setup to get for their home coffee brewing. And I think, what better time is there to like sit at home and drink a bunch of coffee than right now? But yeah, so first of all, we'll talk about gear. So I love the AeroPress. It's fantastic. It's travel friendly. It's, maybe this big, and it's made out of plexiglass, and it's so you can just kind of throw it in a suitcase. It doesn't break. And I've had the same AeroPress, I think, for 5 years, and it still does exactly what it did the day that I got it. You also need an appropriate grinder, which is also very important. I have a hand grinder from a company called Zassenhaus, which is a German company.
No, it sounds like you have reed tools to make coffee. Like you seriously like you want to produce those consistent results.
That's the goal. But yeah, I would say like right now my go-tos are a black coffee made from AeroPress or a flat white if I'm getting coffee out somewhere else. And
The flat white.
I love flat whites. I do.
flat whites, yeah, flat whites are yeah, those are the best. And in terms of where to get your coffee, also very important. But I think my favorite place is a coffee shop that I learned about while I was living in LA. It's called the Conservatory for Coffee, Tea, and Cocoa.
I still get coffee from there.
Oh, yeah, it's the best. Yeah, they're actually sponsoring me to do this interview. Yeah, but it's a really nice place. It's a family-owned business, and almost every worker you see in there is related to the owner in some way, and they're super helpful. And they ship, all over the country, and they actually have free shipping if you order enough coffee. So I would definitely recommend that coffee shop.
So where do you get your coffee knowledge? Is it from experience, or is it from like books? Is it from videos?
YouTube.
Yeah, so I do have a couple coffee books. There's also a really great YouTuber, and I don't remember his name, but he has a British accent. And like basically it all started when my brother bought me a grinder like senior year of undergrad, and it started off as a blade grinder, but that was when I discovered how much better it is to like grind your own beans and how much fresher and everything the coffee tastes. And then moving to LA is a fantastic city for coffee. There's so many amazing coffee shops there. So it just started spiraling from there.
Yeah, I used to have like a little Nespresso machine. I had it for like 6 years, and it broke during the pandemic.
It actually made pretty good coffee because I've had some coffee. Yeah.
So then I switched over to pour over, but like I was a mess. I was not doing. Grounds were everywhere. Like
you're supposed to do that with like a scale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, scale is definitely, that's like a really, really good thing to have too, because like, for AeroPress, for example, you're supposed to use they give you a scoop with your AeroPress. You're supposed to use 1 scoop of beans. But if you weigh the beans, it's actually amazing how different 1 scoop of a certain kind of bean will weigh from another one. So like one type of coffee that I drink, I need to do about 1.5 scoops to get 18 grams of beans, which is like what I think produces the best results for me. But there's another type of coffee where it's like slightly less than 1 scoop is 18 grams. So it's scale is good.
Interesting.
So like each bean has a different density. Is that what
Yeah.
What I'm gathering?
I mean, that's like, I'm no scientist, but I would say, yeah.
Dense beans.
That's really crazy. Coffee, it's like you can either just be happy with just like dirt water and just like love it, or you can be like top coffee snob.
I totally advocate for like taking a step back from good coffee and then coming back to it, because it's like just a fantastic experience.
I would agree. I love a good cup of coffee. Thanks so much for being with us tonight on this episode of Marea and Friends. It's been a lot of fun to put it together and to do this interview. So
thanks so much.
Thanks so much for having me. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Angelo, for your lovely performances tonight. It is so much fun to listen to you play, and we're so grateful that you could be a part of this series. The last piece on the program tonight, we will be having a very special guest join us, and that guest just so happens to be my sister Lily. And Lily is a wonderful guitarist and a wonderful singer, and we actually grew up singing and playing music together, and we would sometimes sing at coffee shops and things like that. So we're super excited to have her on the show tonight, and especially on this song because it's just such a fun song put together, and I think all three of us just really have a lot of fun making music together. So
yeah, and going off that a little bit, tonight with the theme of choosing gratitude, during this time we've really been extremely grateful for the support of our families, especially in the creation of this series and having them wanting to be involved in our collaborations. So tonight we will be performing Aretha Franklin's Say a Little Prayer, but we are going to be basing it off of the version by Liana La Havas. And this is actually one of my favorite versions of this tune. And the first time I heard it, I kid you not, I think I listened to it about 40 times. There was just something about the way that she spun the phrases and really played with the harmonies. And I invite everyone who's tuning in tonight to just think about a time that you heard a song and you could not stop listening to it, and what about that made you feel that way. I don't know, that's just something, I mean, those type of performances are just kind of what makes music special to me. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah. Yeah, and this is just like a very special collaboration too. So we hope that maybe you'll listen to this one 40 times.
Yeah. Yeah, so we're just sending good energy out there, and
yeah.
So here is Say a Little Prayer.
Wake up before I put on my makeup. I say a little prayer for you while combing my hair now and wondering what dress to wear now. I say a little prayer for you forever and ever. You'll stay in my heart, and I will love you forever and ever. We never will part. Oh, how I love you. Together, together, that's how it must be. To live without you would only bring heartbreak for me. Forever and ever, you'll stay in my heart, and I will love you forever and ever. We never will part. Oh, how I love you. Together, together, that's how it must be. To live without you would only bring heartbreak for me. The bus, dear. While riding, I think of us, dear. I say a little prayer for you. At work, I just take time, and all through my coffee break time, I say a little prayer for you. Forever and ever, you'll stay in my heart, and I will love you forever and ever. We never will part. Oh, how I love you. Together, together, that's how it must be. To live without you would only bring heartbreak for me.
Angelo, you really sounded fantastic tonight. Thank you so much for being a part of our series and just really performing at the absolutely highest level and giving us your artistic contribution tonight. It's been really fun to play with you.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun playing with you and reconnecting and having our little interview that we did. And thank you so much to everyone who is watching tonight. And before we tune out, just a little reminder to purchase your optional $5 virtual ticket at our website. And you can also still fill out our survey, and the link will be below. If there's something that you want us to do differently or change for next week, we want to hear it.
Yeah, and it's really our priority as a duo to be bringing you virtual entertainment to your homes every week and to be keeping the spirit of musical collaborations alive during this time. And next week, for week 20, we're getting in the 20s. That's an exciting thing. And we will be joined with Natalie Vargas Nedvetsky, and she is a pianist, a poet, and the founder of the Literary Music series, and one of our really dear friends, and also one of the first people that had us on to play as a duo, and kind of also was a big inspiration for us starting the Marea and Friends concert series. So it's going to be a really great episode.
Yeah, full circle.
Full circle.
So we're really excited for next week, so make sure you tune in. Same place, same time. We'll be
January
here.
30th.
Yes.
My birthday.
Yes. All right, have a great evening.
Yeah, see ya.